Okay. Ready? No.
Always ready.
I'm not ready. I'm not ready. Hello again, my name is David Watts and this is Ilya Krutov.
Hi.
And today we're going to talk about the new server, the IBM System x3550 M5. This is a new 1U rack mount server from IBM. It includes the latest Intel Xeon processors, a lot of memory, some storage choices. And we're going to go through all of that today. So Ilya, tell us who's the target audience for this type of machine?
This server is a dense 1U rack server, and it supports the broad range of different types of applications. It is suitable for many general workloads, which includes infrastructure workloads, cloud and virtualization, email collaboration, and high-performance computing, and many others.
So we have here three different variations that show the different drive configurations on the front of the machine. You can see at the bottom one is a hot swap 3.5-inch drive model, 4 hot swap bays, 3.5-inch. The middle machine is a 2.5-inch model. This optionally supports an optical drive. There are also models with an LCD display. This machine doesn't have that. That is available though. And then the top machine is our dense offering with 10 2.5-inch drives at the front, with support for an additional 2 2.5-inch drives at the back of the machine as well.
In addition, simple swap versions of 3.5-inch models and 2.5-inch models with up to 8 drive bays are available.
Each of the machines, each of the variations has a VGA port. You can see here they are here over on the right hand side. Machines also have USB ports. Depending on the configuration you select, they'll have 1 or 2 USB 2 ports and a USB 3 port. You can see the USB 3 is got a different color inside it. This machine in the middle, as I mentioned, has support for an LCD display. This machine here doesn't have it standard. The models that do, it is a display very similar to the 3650 M5 server we've also just announced. The LCD display is really useful because it gives you access to the current server status, access to information like the IP address of the IMM, and other useful information for problem determination. This is also an optical drive availability for the models with 3.5-inch bays. So you can see slightly different variations, but generally the same componentry on the front. Now, if we flip around to look at the back of the machine.
Sure.
So we're looking at the back of the machines now, and you can see, looking at the ports along. We'll look at the top one here. So on the left we have the dedicated systems management port, Ethernet port. Then 2 USB 3 ports, some indicators, or duplication of what's on the front. USB 2 port there, and then 4 gigabit Ethernet ports, and the VGA port, again a mirror from the front of the machine. Support for 2 power supplies. These machines have got the hot swap 550 watt power supply. It's a platinum energy compliant power supply.
Platinum certified.
Yep, 80 plus platinum. Also available is the 750 watt and 900 watt power supplies, and there's also a 750 watt titanium, which is even more efficient than the platinum versions. So 2 of these. This unit only has 1 installed. The second one would go there, and then there'd be a redundant pair of power supplies. The server also supports up to 3 externally accessible PCI slots, plus an internal slot for a RAID controller, and we'll get to that in a second. But Ilya, let's talk about the different combinations that are available for the adapters and so on.
Sure. First of all, these 3 adapters can be standard PCIe adapters. Some of the combinations require a second processor, but in general they are just regular PCIe adapters. In addition to that, slot 1 can be converted from the traditional PCIe adapter to ML2 slot, and these have this has some advantages of sharing 10 gig ports of the ML2 adapters with the management network, providing a single connection to the network, which includes both management and production data. Also, you can, instead of these two slots, you can have two 2.5-inch drive bays, and this is specific to the model on top of our stack, which is a 10 drive bay model. So basically you can get up to 12 2.5-inch drive bays in a single 1U rack server.
It's a lot of storage. Yeah. Okay, so let's open these up and put them out side by side so we can look at the differences internally.
Yes.
All right, let's do it. Okay, so we've opened up the covers of the three machines. They're all basically, all three are basically the same, but we'll point out the differences as we go. So, first of all, I'll remove the air baffle here. You can see that these are dual processor systems. What are the processors?
Intel Xeon processor E5-2600 with 3 product
families. Right, these are the new processors just announced, right?
Right.
Yep. The machine supports 24 DIMM sockets. Each processor has up to 12 DIMM sockets. So if we're using RDIMMs, 16 gig RDIMMs for example, we can go up to 384 gigabytes of RAM, right? We're also planning to support 32 and 64 gig LRDIMMs, and so that'll bring the total up with that support up to 1.5. Right? 1.5 terabytes of RAM,
yes,
with 2 processors installed.
Yeah, also these new processors have up to 18 cores. So it's like a lot of processing power.
Yes, yes indeed. Okay, so
also regarding memory, so these new processors support DDR4 memory. And DDR4 memory supports speeds up to 2133 megahertz and memory voltage of 1.2 volts. So, which means newer DIMMs are provide more performance and at the same time better power efficiency than previous generation DDR3 DIMMs.
Yep. Okay, so moving back from the processors and memory, this adapter here is the IBM Serve RAID M1200. The M1215 RAID controller. Supports RAID 0 and 1 with optional RAID 5. Yeah. This is actually in a dedicated slotless adapter slot, if you like. Unlike the 3 adapter slots at the back, it's not accessible, but it does give you RAID controller capacity without consuming any of those slots at the back. And then further back we've got the 3 PCI slots on riser cards. Let me just pop one of these out. You'll notice, by the way, this is a pre-production model, so it will look a little bit different in the final version. There we go. If I break this, I'm in big trouble. Phil will not like me. So you can see that this is a 2-slot riser card, a butterfly design with PCIe 3 by 8 slots, 1 on each side, and then a third slot, either PCIe 3 normal slot or the MESLOM 2, the ML2 adapter slot that we talked about before. So there are the 3.
Before I put it back, what is this?
Right, so we have the usual hypervisor USB socket. So for VMware ESXi, VMware vSphere, this socket will allow support for that. This little connector here is for an upcoming option called the IBM SD Media RAID adapter. It's going to be a small device that will accept SDHC cards, 2 of them. It has built-in support for RAID, so the 2 SD cards are a redundant pair, and you would put VMware vSphere on those cards instead of the USB port. So that's a new option that will be coming out.
This will provide high availability.
Yes, yes. So that option will come out later on after the server is generally available. Again, 2 power supplies. You can see them from the rear. We've got 1 installed and 1 space for a second one. And okay, let me put this back. And then do we want to talk about then, Ilya, the storage then at the front?
Yes, but before speaking about storage in the front, so just one more notice. So if you have hot swap or simple swap models, you can use either hardware RAID controller, which uses dedicated slot, or for simple swap models that use 2.5-inch or 3.5-inch drives, you can use embedded SATA ports.
Right, that's these ports here.
Yes, and you don't have to use any backplanes. Basically, you are directly connecting your drives to the planner.
Yeah, and that's using the onboard SATA connection directly to the PCI hub chip.
Right, correct.
Yeah. All right, so let's look at the front of the servers. Each of these three systems we have here are slightly different to each other. Let me just put this air baffle back out of the way. Right, so starting on the right side, this is a machine that has support for 3.5-inch drive bays. So there are the four 3.5-inch drives at the front, and a single backplane. That's this unit here, single backplane that goes all the way to front, and 7 hot swap fans. Up to 7 hot swap fans. Yes, these are hot swap. Again, this is an engineering sample, so it doesn't have all the correct colors. The first 6 fans are standard with the machine with one processor, and when you have a second processor, then the additional fan is supplied. Right. In between those fans, I'm going to pop this open. So this is a supercapacitor mounting that you would connect to the RAID controller. It's placed up the front to maximize its ability to be cooled. So that's the 3.5-inch version of the machine. Now this one in the middle here, this one here is the 2.5-inch bays with the optional optical drive. Ilya, you want to talk about the components here?
So this model has 4 drive bays standard, and it can be upgraded to 8 drive bay model, and it's the maximum for this model. So basically this model cannot go beyond 8 drives.
There is space between the fans and those drives. There's space for 2 supercapacitors, and those go to the RAID controllers that you might have installed.
Yeah, basically one for the internal one and another one for the external RAID controller. And also, as you can see, this machine has up to 8 hot swap fans.
This unit has 8 fans. The unit over there was 7 fans. So 6 standard for the first processor, and then 2 blanks when you install the second processor, though you put fans in there. And basically, because the system has more drives, it needs 8 fans rather than the 7 fans. And so they rearranged the mechanical layout of the components to fit the fans needed. Okay, and then on the side over here, this is a third variation. So this is the storage dense model, where there are 10 2.5-inch drives at the front with optional support for 2 more drives at the very back. So what we have here now is, again, 8 fans, 6 standard plus 2 optional for the second processor, and then there's this card here at the front, which is a SAS expander. So the cables, if we go back to the RAID controller, the SAS cables go from the RAID controller to the front. These are, by the way, this is 12 gig SAS, supporting 6 or 12 gig drives. So the controller goes to the SAS expander and to the backplane, and then if you have 2 drives at the back of the machine, those are it's routed from the expander back via cables to the front, to the back drives. There's the connector there for the connections to the rear drives. And then on either side of that SAS expander is space again for 2 supercapacitors, again up the front to maximize the cooling that they need. So there you have it. These are three of the different drive combinations you can have with the 3550 M5. The 3.5-inch drives over there, they can be up to 6 terabytes of storage each, 24 terabytes total. These machines here support the 2.5-inch drives, and those can be up to 1.2 terabyte SAS hard drives.
Right.
for a total of 14 terabytes of capacity.
Yes, for 12 drive models.
Yep,
yeah,
12,
or
yep.
9.6 terabytes for 8 drive models.
Right. Yep.
And by the way, these 6 terabyte drives, which provide the capacity of 24 terabytes per server, they use advanced format technology. And the advanced format technology allows you to have high capacity drives with better data reliability.
Yep. So there you have it. This is the new IBM System x3550 M5 with the
Intel Xeon processor E5-2600 with 3 product family.
Yep. I hope you enjoyed the video and found it very useful. We'll see you next time.
Bye.
Bye.